Sri Ram. Sri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Nab Kanjalochana Kanja Mukha Kar Kanja Pada Kanjaru Nam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Sri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Bhaja Dina Bandhu Dinesha Danav Daitya Bang Shani Kandanam Raghunanda Ananda Kanda Koshala Chandra Dasratha Nanda Nam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Bhaj Dina Bandhu Dinesh Danav Daitya Vangshani Kandanam Raghunanda Ananda Kanda Kaushala Chandra Dasharatha Nandanam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Sri Mukuta Kundala Tilak Charu Udhar Vanga Vibhushanam Ajani Bhuja Sara Chapatar Sangrama Jitakar Dushmanam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Sri Ramachandra Kripadu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayo Darunam. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is composed by Tulsidas. Beautiful describe, and he described basically Lord Rama's beauty. Lord Rama was Ajanulambita. Here it says that. That means his hand was very long. I mean, all Krishna even had a long, and he had a curly hair that was adorning his beautiful face and the eyes. That's why Tulsidas is Bhaja Dina Bandhu Dinesha Danava Daitya Vangshani Kandanam Raghunanda Ananda Kanda Kaushalo Chandra Dasaratha Nandanam. He was Chandravangshi, son of Dasharath. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm done.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
I pasted the translation of the song if you want to read that in the chat.
Hmm.
Or
You want me to read?
I can read. I
Or
can
you
read.
can read. Yeah, you can read.
Okay. O mind, always meditate upon the merciful Sri Ramachandra, who removes bhava, the worldly sorrow or pain, bhaya, the fear, and daruna, the scarcity or poverty, who has fresh lotus eyes, lotus face, and lotus hands, feet like lotus and like the rising sun. His beauty exceeds innumerable Kamdevs. He is like a newly formed beautiful blue cloud. The yellow robe on his body appears like delightful lighting. He is the consort of the daughter of Sri Janak, the embodiment of sacredness. O mind, sing praises of Sri Ram, a friend of the poor. He is the lord of the solar dynasty. He is the destroyer of demons and devils and their race. The descendant of Sri Raghu is the source of joy, a moon of his mother Kaushalya, and he is the son of Sri Dashrath. He wears a crown on his head, pendants on his ear, and tilak on his forehead. All his organs are beautiful and well decorated with ornaments. His arms reach his knees. He holds a bow and an arrow. He emerged victorious in the battle with demons Khar and Dushan. Thus says Sri Tulsidas, O Sri Ram, the charmer of Lord Shiva, Sri Shesh and saints, reside in the lotus of my heart and destroy all the evils and their associates like desires.
Thank you. Okay, so you want to speak on Lord
I
Ram?
think I think this bhajan Tulsidas composed, just to inform, Tulsidas was a great saint and great devotee of Lord Ram, all of us we know. And he composed this song when he was in jail, that Akbar put him in, you know, Agra jail. That during that time he composed this song.
Mm.
Was it this one or was it the Hanuman Chalisa that he composed?
Hanuman Chalisa also, both.
Oh, okay,
Okay, so we will hear something on Lord Ram. Sugandha wants to speak, so we will hear for some 1 hour or so. Okay, go ahead.
Um, yes, Prabhu. Um, share presentation. Um, so does everybody see the presentation?
Yes, yes, Mata.
okay. Yes, Mataji.
All right. So I have prepared a class for my temple in DC. Um, so there are several lessons to be learned in Ramayana. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants and to re-establish dharma, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So Srila Prabhupada explains in one lecture that actually the Lord does not have to personally come to kill the demons. Lord can give like a little heart attack to a demon and he will be finished. So mainly the Lord comes to the material world to please his devotees and experience loving reciprocation with them. Also, the Supreme Lord has a very important task to make sure in Kali Yuga we don't spend all our time on WhatsApp or Facebook. We actually open Ramayana and try to read. So there's something that Lord Ram that he could have done straight in a moment. He could have killed Ravan. He could have popped all the heads of Ravan out and killed him. But he built this Ramayana. He built this amazing Leela. Ram getting exiled for 14 years under a conspiracy, Ravan kidnapping Sita, Ram building a bridge with the monkeys to Lanka, Ram fighting with Ravan with all his monkey army. So Lord does all of this to give us Ramayana, which is filled with adventure, action, drama, romance, mysticism, and this is what we are all looking for when we watch like a movie or TV. But the difference between Ramayana and an ordinary movie is that this story is related to Lord Ram, and that's why it's all purifying. It relieves us of all sinful reactions and gives us transcendental knowledge and provide so many life lessons that we can implement in our day-to-day life and become a better devotee. So we'll go over many lessons learned from small pastimes in Ramayana. So we see that in the beginning, Ram is banished for 14 years on the day of his coronation when he was just about to become the king. So we can understand why this happened. So this pastime can be understood at different levels. So from the perspective of teaching a lesson to the world, the lesson is that in Ayodhya, Dashrath had three wives: Kaushalya, the mother of Ram; Kekai, the mother of Bharat; and Sumitra, the mother of Lakshman and Shatrughan. So Kekai was the youngest wife of Dashrath, and she was most beautiful. She was king's favorite queen. And there was Manthara, who was a hunchback maid servant of Kekai, and she was hunchback. Because of that, she was always being joked upon, and there was other people would tease her, but this teasing had stopped since the time she became the favorite maid servant of Kekai. So everybody started respecting Manthara. So when Manthara found out that Ram is getting crowned as the king, she feared that okay, now Ram's mother Kaushalya will become the favorite queen, and Kekai's position will be downgraded, which will in turn downgrade Manthara's position. And she feared that again she'll be joked upon because of her hunchback. So Manthara had a hidden agenda that she went to Kekai and started corrupting her mind. And Kekai, no, Kekai absolutely loved Ram and Sita like her own son and daughter. She was not at all in politics. When Ram and Sita got married, um, Kaikai gifted them her own palace, which was the most beautiful palace in whole of Ayodhya. So then Manthara, she, cooked up a story and told Kaikai, if Ram becomes the king, Kaushalya will become the Rajmata, and you will have to sit at her feet and serve her like a maid servant. And Ram will see Bharat as a threat, and with some pretext, he will have Bharat arrested and may even execute him. So she cooked up this story, and hearing all of this, Kekai's heart got changed, and feelings of envy and greed and desire for power arose in her. And so she asked Dashrath to fulfill the two boons and promised. And one of the boon was send Ram to the forest for 14 years, and second was to make my son Bharat the king of Ayodhya. So, and this one incident, it caused so much havoc in Ayodhya, and Dashrath, he couldn't withstand separation from Lord Ram, and he died. And all the residents of Ayodhya, they were crying in separation from Lord Ram. So Lord Ram is teaching us a lesson with this pastime, that we have to be careful who we hear from, who we associate with. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Asat Sanga Tyag e Vaishnav Achar. Avoid the association of non-devotees. We should especially not hear blasphemy of other devotees and of Lord. Hearing criticism of others, destroys our faith in them and destroys our faith, in the bhakti process. So Manthara, she was, appearing like a well-wisher for Kekai, but she had a hidden agenda. She wanted to secure her own position. So sometimes we do have some people around us who seem to be like our well-wishers, and they give us suggestions, but they end up coming between us and our actual well-wishers. So these envious people, they sow the seeds of suspicion and distrust in our hearts. But before believing in someone's words, we need to be critical in our thinking, and we should consult Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra to resolve all our doubts. So we should hear from only Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Always stay in the association of sadhus, the saintly people who have all the good qualities and who will guide us according to the Shastra, and who have no hidden agenda but to benefit everyone. So this is one perspective to this pastime. So the other perspective is Leela point of view, that how why Ram was exiled to the forest, because there were demigods and there were sages um, that were tormented by demons. They prayed to the Lord to incarnate to kill all these demons. So to facilitate the killing of the demons, Ram was sent to the forest. So demigods, they employed Mother Saraswati, who sat on the tongue of Manthara and made her speak such words to Kekai that led to the whole conspiracy. And Ram was exiled to the forest. So we often regard, Manthara and Kekai as evil characters in Ramayana, but the truth is that Manthara and Kekai were used by the Lord as a puppet so that this Leela would happen. So it's a divine arrangement. So that's one perspective. And the other perspective is the spiritual understanding, spiritual perspective. So Lord Ram, he was receiving, love and devotion of everyone in Ayodhya, and he wanted to make their take their love one notch higher, and he wanted to give a taste of something special called Vipralambha Seva, separation, love in separation. So Lord Ram, he's Karuna avatar. He's showing mercy to the demigods by killing the demons, and he's showing also mercy to the demons by killing them, because anyone who's killed from the hands of Lord is liberated. And he's also showing mercy to the Ayodhya Vasis by giving them Vipralambha Seva. So what is Vipralambha Seva? So one Acharya says that when there is Sambhoga, a union, the devotee is able to see the Lord in front of him, and there is great joy in that. But when there is Viyoga, there is separation, we cannot see the Lord with our eyes. But sincere devotees, when they feel great separation, they are always lamenting, oh, what a misfortune! I have lost Krishna. And they start hankering for Krishna. Oh, when will I be able to see Krishna? And their lolium, their greed increases to get Krishna. And in this apparent agony, desperation, hankering, the devotee, he becomes transcendently mad. And so he starts seeing Krishna everywhere. So like we have the gopis, when they're separated from Krishna, when Krishna left for Mathura, when they will see a tamal tree, They will think, oh, the complexion of this tree is just like Krishna. When they see Vamshivat, they will remember, oh, this is where Krishna played his flute. And when they see the beautiful footprints of Krishna in the dust of Vrindavan, they remember, oh, this is where Krishna was walking with his cows. And when they see, they see that oh, this is where Krishna was standing on Govardhan, and this is where Krishna glanced at me. This is where Krishna put garland on my hair, talked lovingly with me, like that. They would remember Krishna. All these memories would come back. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see gopis are singing in the Gopi Geet when Krishna left them in the middle of the night on the Ras Leela. रहसितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणं विहरणं च ते ध्यानमङ्गलं रहसि संविदो यारिदि स्पृशा कुहकनो मना शोभयन्ति हि. So the gopis are praying, your smiles, your sweet loving glances, and the intimate pastimes and confidential talks we enjoyed with you, all these are auspicious to meditate upon, and they touch our hearts. Right now, Krishna, you have left us. So all these thoughts and memories, they are agitating our minds. The gopis are remembering all the beautiful loving exchanges they had with Krishna. So like that, throughout Ramayana, you will see this, Vipralamba Bhav, the intense emotion of Karuna Ras. We'll find many characters, they're crying in separation. Dashrath is crying for Ram, Bharat is crying for Ram, Ram is crying for Sita, Sita is crying for Ram when she's kidnapped. So this is in line with Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya. We see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's in Jagannath Puri. He would be crying, feeling intense separation from Krishna. Our six Goswamis in Vrindavan, they are crying. It is said that the most hard-hearted person, his heart will be filled with emotions for the Lord after reading Ramayana. And that is the goal of bhakti. Goal of bhakti is to develop emotions and bhav for Krishna, Lord Ram, Mother Sita. So that's one perspective to that pastime of Lord Ram getting exiled. Another reason it's mentioned, like one time Lakshmi was massaging the feet of Lord Narayan and she looked very morose. And Lord Narayan asked, Devi, what's the problem? She said, although I'm so fortunate that I have the opportunity to serve you diligently for so long, still I'm very dissatisfied with my service. My Lord, when I'm serving you, this Anant Shesh, with his millions and millions of hoods and millions of eyes, is constantly watching over us. So I'm not getting the opportunity to serve you in solitude, in privacy. So Lord Vishnu says, oh, don't worry. In future, when we appear as Ram and Sita, at that time, we'll have some time away in solitude and roam about in various places in the forest. But at that time also, Anantashesh will come as Lakshman. But he will stay at a distance. He will not bother us. He will give us some space. So this is also one of the reasons why Lord Ram was exiled. It's a promise he made to Lakshmi Devi. And Lord Ram also wanted to give his personal association to many devotees who were waiting to get his mercy, like Shabri, Guha, sages in the forest, Sugriv, Hanuman. And so also we know that, Lord Ram is known as Maryada Purushottam. And through several pastimes in Ramayana, Lord is showing us, the example of an ideal husband, ideal king, ideal son, ideal brother, ideal friend. So when we see that, when Ram is told by Dashrath to go to the forest for exile for 14 years, he immediately agrees. Ram first goes to Kekai to bring down her animosity and hard-heartedness. So Ram says to Kekai, I had always considered you my mother. I thought that you too had considered me your son. But today I'm very sad to know that you never considered me your son. So Kekai, she was expecting this question regarding her, unfairness in treating Ram, and she was prepared to counter reply to Ram. But then Ram said, "Well, if you had accepted me as your son, you would have asked directly to me for the kingdom. I would have given you right away. Why did you have to go through my father and use your two boons for this? My dear mother, to please you and to honor my father's words, I will immediately proceed to the forest." So please give me your blessings. So we can see this, phenomenal behavior of Lord Ram, exemplifying someone who's a dhira. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, yam hi na vyatha yante te purusham purusharshabha sama sukha dukhas dhiram so mritatvaya kalpate. One who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is a dhira, and he is eligible for liberation. So Lord Ram, he didn't feel any resentment or anger towards Kekai, and he had selfless love for his father and mother. So Lord is teaching us lesson how to become a dhira. We should surrender to the plans of the Lord and remain fixed in our duties, in our services during ups and downs in our life, during happiness and distress. We remain fixed in our duty. And we also see that, when Ram is about to go to the forest, Sita makes a petition to go with Ram. So Sita says to Ram, "O Ram, when my father gave my hand to you in marriage, he told me to stick by your side through thick and thin. I will go with you to the forest. And with you, the forest would become like Ayodhya for me. But without you, this Ayodhya will seem like a forest to me." So, Ram tried to dissuade Sita, speaking at length of so many difficulties that are encountered in forest. There would be rakshasas, wild animals, and she would have to wear tree bark. But Sita, she didn't budge. Sita says, "My lord, I will go in front of you and crush all the thorns that come in your way." So, Sita, she's showing us the character of an ideal wife, staying alongside her husband through ups and downs in life. And then we see the response of Lakshman. Now, Lakshman, he demonstrated unconditional surrender, and he chose to accompany Ram in the forest too. And we see that he doesn't go with his wife. He didn't think, "Oh, Ram is taking his wife, so let me take my wife." No, he's going there to serve Ram and Sita as a menial servant. At Chitrakoot, Sita and Ram, they used to roam about and have some time together. And Lakshman, he was busy cutting the grass, building the hut, getting fruits and roots, clearing the stones, fighting the demons day and night. And he took a vow that for 14 years I will not sleep. I will just serve my Lord day and night. And so one day when Shrupnakha comes and he says to Ram, and she says to Ram, "Oh my Lord, I want to marry you." So Ram says, "I have taken Eka Patni Vrata. I'm married to. I've taken this vow to marry only one woman. So you should go to Lakshman. He doesn't have a wife." So Shrupnakha then she goes to Lakshman, and Lakshman says, "Shrupnakha, do you want to be a queen or do you want to be a dasi servant?" So Shurpanakha says, "I want to be a queen." So Lakshman says, "Well, if you marry me, you will become a dasi because I'm a servant. I'm a servant of Lord Ram." So she goes back to Shurpanakha, she goes back to Ram, and Ram again sends her back to Lakshman, and she was going back and forth between Ram and Lakshman, and she became really angry and she decided to attack Sita. And then Lakshman, he performs his ENT surgery. Lakshman, he chops off Shurpanakha's ears and nose. So when another time when we see that Sita is attracted by the deer, who's the demon Marich, and Marich goes into the forest. Ram runs behind Marich, and at the one time Marich is calling out in the voice of Ram, "Oh Sita, Lakshman, save me." So Lakshman, understands the whole scenario, but Mother Sita, she says to Lakshman, "Oh, please go and save your brother." But Lakshman says, "Mother, don't worry. There is no one born in the whole creation of Brahma who can threaten Ram." But Mother Sita says, "No, no, our Ram is in danger." And at that time, Sita, she speaks some harsh words to Lakshman. Um, she says to Lakshman, "Oh, Lakshman, I know that, you have been in this forest for 13 years only to find a time when Ram will go away and you can enjoy me." So Lakshman was very much aggrieved by these words of Sita. So Lakshman, he bows down to Sita. He makes a Lakshman Rekha and to keep Mother Sita protected, and he goes out to find Ram. And when Ram, in the forest, when Ram is coming back, suspecting that there must be this, demon who might be, trying to capture Sita. Ram is coming back and he meets Lakshman. Ram starts chastising Lakshman. Lakshman, why did you leave Sita? And when they come back, they see that Mother Sita is missing. So Ram looks at Lakshman and says, "You are irresponsible. It's all your mistake. Sita is missing." So we can see that here we see Mother Sita. She's blaming Lakshman for his character. So there is a test of integrity. And Ram is blaming Lakshman for his competency. So imagine that you are in this situation where you have left a kingdom which you are not supposed to leave, and you have left your wife which you are not supposed to leave, for a brother who you have served so meanly that you not had a minute of sleep, and then he doubts your ability. And Mother Sita, she doubts your character. So what is there more to continue for Lakshman? But Lakshman, we see, he continues with his service. In fact, he improves and he intensifies his service. And we see Lakshman, he acts as a great counselor for Lord Ram. When Ram is crying for Mother Sita, Lakshman is counseling him, you know, giving him correct guidance how to find Sita. And then we see that, when monkeys, they bring ornaments that they found lying in the forest. When they say that, a lady was flying through the air, and she was dropping these ornaments. So we are here to, can you check if these are Sita's ornaments? So monkeys, they brought it to Ram and Lakshman, these. So Ram said, I cannot look at these ornaments. The thought that these may belong to Mother Sita is, breaking my heart. So Lakshman, you go and see. So at this point, Lakshman says this verse: Na ham janami keyure, na ham janami kundale, nupure na bhi janami nityam padmi vandanat. So Lakshman is saying that, my lord, I don't recognize these necklaces and these armlets. I don't recognize these earrings, but I recognize these ankle bells. Why? Because, my lord, I have always worshipped Mother Sita's lotus feet. I have never ever seen her above her ankles. So I cannot recognize these, necklaces and armlets and earrings. I only recognize these ankle bells. So this is the level of the devotional integrity of Lakshman. How many reasons were there for Lakshman to give up his service to Lord Ram and say, I'm going back to Ayodhya. Enough of this husband and wife business. But Lakshman, he continues. So he's giving us the lesson of unconditional surrender to the Lord. So Prabhupada said, sometimes we will be misunderstood. Sometimes there will be misunderstanding with other devotees. Um, some may criticize us or dishonor us, disrespect us. Sometimes we will have luxury, and sometimes we will have to live very austerely. But we should be such that external circumstances don't matter. The only thing that matters is pleasure of Krishna, pleasure of Lord Ram, satisfaction of Lord Ram. So we should not give up our service to the Lord in any circumstance. So another lesson is, in Lanka, Ashokvatika, we see that Ravan, he's trying to impress Mother Sita, trying different techniques to coax her to accept his proposal, to marry him. Ravan says to Sita, I will make you the principal queen and you will enjoy so many things. Oh Sita, you're so beautiful. You're not realizing how time is passing by and your youth is fading away. Now is the time to enjoy. I have unmatched power, unmatched vitality. Accept all these valuable gifts I have got for you. And you should forget the aimless wanderer Ram. He has nothing to offer you anymore. Ram won't be able to find you, let alone rescue you. So submit to me and enjoy the pleasures of heaven. So like that, Ravan was enticing Sita. And Sita would ignore him. And sometimes, she would shout at Ravan. Sita would say, oh, these petty gifts cannot impress me, O Ravan. Being conquered by Lord Ram's personality, I cannot be tempted with anything else in this world. Like sunlight is inseparable from the sun, Mother Sita is inseparable from Lord Ram. And Despite of so many months of constant torment that you have subjected me, I still give you a chance. Return me to Lord Ram now, and I will ensure you're not burned by his wrath. So Sita, she would constantly remember Ram in her heart and chant Ram, Ram, Ram. And we know that, Ravan, he knew that he cannot forcibly enjoy Sita because he was cursed by Nalkovera, and when he tried to molest his wife, Nalkovera's wife, Nalkovera cursed him, and Vedavati's curse was also there that if he tries to force himself upon a woman, he will immediately die. So Ravan knew about that. But Ravan, he was so charming and so attractive that all the women to whom he proposed, they couldn't resist him. He had a charming power, and that's why his palace was filled with so many women. But Mother Sita, she exemplifies how a devotee is, how a sadhaka is. A devotee is totally attached to his Lord. Devotee is always chaste to the Lord. Ravana represents all kinds of sense gratification. All different distractions and temptations in the world are like Ravana. And a devotee is like Sita saying, no, 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 I don't want this, I don't want this, to all these proposals. If something distracts me from my devotion to Lord Ram, I don't want it. So devotee's mind is totally focused on the Lord. So there is a saying that between B and D there is C. Like between birth and death there is C, choice. Every moment is a choice. Choice whether we choose Maya, temptations, or we choose Krishna. So doing pratikul activities, like something activities are going against the dharma, like breaking four regulative principles, meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, doing aparad, all these practical activities. While doing these activities, we are making a choice. I'm choosing Ravan over Lord Ram. This Ravan, we all have Ravan within our hearts. The Ravan of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. Ravan exists within our hearts, and we can pray to Lord Ram today that, please, my Lord, I'm like Sita, who's trapped in the Ashok Vatika of this material world. Please come and destroy this Ravan within my heart and let me unite with you. So that is a prayer of devotee. And some qualities of Mother Sita, we see that, in we find that when Ravan was killed and Hanuman went to Ashok Vatika to meet Sita Devi, inform her of the news that of Ram's victory. Sita Devi was very delighted to hear the news, and she asked Hanumanji, okay, you can ask for a boon, whatever you desire. And Hanuman, he was full of anger against all the demonesses who were guarding Sita Devi, who were harassing her, torturing her. So he wanted, Sita Devi's permission to kill all these demonesses. But Sita smiled at Hanuman and she said, the mistake of a helpless servant is considered to be the mistake of his instructive master. The demonesses, they had no choice but to torture me. They didn't trouble me out of choice, but out of compulsion. I wouldn't attribute the cause of my suffering to someone else, but rather accept it as a consequence of my previous karmic reaction. The greatness of a person lies in his ability to forgive wrong action and not retaliate with another wrong action. So, Sita Devi is teaching us about this quality of forgiveness, which is a virtuous quality. Srila Prabhupada says that devotees of the Lord are even more forgiving than the Lord. Also, we hate the sin, not the sinner. And as Sita Devi is saying that, whoever does anything to us, they are just instruments of our own karma. They're like a postman. They are delivering our karma back to us. So if we have taken a loan from if the postman comes and says, oh, you owe $1 million to the government. It's not the post. No, you would not start attacking the postman and saying, why have you brought this? No, it was you who took the loan from the government and now you owe that as a debt. So yeah, people who do wrong to us, they are just an instrument of our own karma. So Srimad Bhagavatam says, this verse, Tatyanukampam susamikshmano bhunjanaya vatma kritam vipakam ridvag vipurbhir vidadan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So this verse says that, during difficult times, when we are going through suffering, we should be patient, realizing that, oh, I am suffering this as a result of my own karma. But and then while going through the suffering, we keep offering respectful obeisances to the Lord with our heart, words, and body, being grateful to the Lord even during the phase of suffering. We stay grateful to the Lord, and we say, "Oh my Lord," and we think that, Lord is so kind that, I was bound to suffer much more because of my karma, but Lord has minimized my suffering. My hand was supposed to be cut, but he has only given me a paper cut. So in that way, the devotee always remains grateful to the Lord, and he becomes eligible to inherit the kingdom of the Lord. Jivita yo mukti padesa dayabha. He becomes eligible to enter into the spiritual world. So similarly, um, so this is the time of suffering. During the time of suffering, the devotee is grateful. Also, when the devotee is going through good times in his life, he remains grateful to the Lord. He gives the credit to the Lord, thinking, I'm not qualified for this. I'm unworthy for this happiness. And he realizes that it's only the Lord's mercy that I am in this comfortable position. So like when
Hare
Mhm.
Krishna Mataji. I'm having trouble seeing the slides. It's been a while with me, and I think others. So I just wanted to intercept. I'm so sorry to disturb you, but
uh,
I feel like you read so much and not able to see
you
the.
need, you're not able to see the slides.
No, I tried leaving, joining several times. Even I'm not able to see.
We all, Mataji.
Okay.
So sorry, but you've prepared it and no one's able.
Can you see now?
Not yet.
Mm.
I was able to see initially, and then it went away.
Um, Mataji, we are hearing you actually. I think it's fine.
Let's see. It should. Yeah, you should see the slide now. I'm sharing.
Not yet. Yes, now. Now we can see.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we were, yeah, so I was saying that, in the time of suffering, the devotee is grateful to the Lord. Also, in the times when everything is going nice, happy times, he remains grateful to the Lord, knowing that it's by the mercy of the Lord things are happening nicely in my life. So, like, when Hanuman's tail was lit on fire, Hanumanji, he immediately felt, oh, this fire is not burning me. Actually, this fire is cooling me. So he started thinking how this is happening. And he immediately thought, oh, this must be surely the blessing of Mother Sita. I'm sure she is intensely praying for me, for protecting me. Which is true. Sita Devi was praying to Agni Dev that if I have been a chaste wife of Lord Ram, please, I beg you that don't burn Hanuman's tail. So so that's what Hanuman was thinking. Oh, this must be, the blessing of Mother Sita, that this fire is not hurting me. So like that, devotee is always grateful. He knows that, anything auspicious, anything good that is happening in my life is by the mercy of Krishna and by the mercy of other devotees who are praying for me. I'm able to chant and hear scriptures and come to the temple, perform any kind of worship to the Lord, all because of mercy from devotees, mercy of Krishna. So in that way also the devotee remains humble. Um, and then, there's a pastime of Vibhishan. So Vibhishan, he was Ravana's younger brother, and he was a devotee of Lord Ram. And he tried his best to advise Ravan to return Sita, but Ravan didn't listen. So Vibhishan, he left Ravan and he decided to join Ram's army. And when Vibhishan, he came to Lord Ram, everybody was suspicious of him, and he thought that, oh, he's Ravana's spy. And there was Sugriv and the monkeys, they were saying that don't trust him, kill him, capture him, we should beat him, we should not take a risk of trusting him, he's a demon, he's Ravana's brother. So that's what most of the people were saying. Then Ram asked Hanuman about his opinion, and Hanuman said, "Oh, Vibhishan, he has taken this risk of leaving Ram, and he has come and surrendered to you, Lord. And when I was in Lanka, he was the only one who was telling Ravan not to kill me. And he was repeatedly telling Ravan to return Sita. And only his house in Lanka had a Tulsi plant. So I didn't burn his house. Hanuman burnt everything in Lanka except for two places, uh, Vibhishan's house and Ashok Vatika. So Hanuman is saying to Lord, Vibhishan is a devotee. He has come and touched your feet. Please accept him. So Ram said, Yes, I accept Vibhishan. And what to speak of Vibhishan, even if Ravan comes and surrenders to me, I will forgive him. I will accept him. And then Ram speaks one verse, which is from Valmiki Ramayana, which is like the topmost verse in Bhakti. And it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sakradeva prapanno yastavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. So Lord Ram is saying that it is my vow that if one only once surrenders to me, saying, My Lord, from this day I am yours, Tavasmiti, I am yours, and he prays for courage, then I will immediately award him fearlessness from that time on, and he will remain safe. So even if we have done so many wrong things in the past, Lord Ram is saying, Don't worry. You surrender to me, you beg for forgiveness, and vow from this day, I will give up all my bad activities. I surrender to you. I am yours. The Lord, He will accept us. That's His promise. So Ram, he got very ecstatic and he said, I will not just accept Vibhishan, I announce him as the future king of Lanka. So now the monkeys, they were thinking, oh, that's too much mercy Vibhishan is getting. Ram is announcing him as the king of Lanka. So, and then Ramachandra didn't stop there, and he said, even if Ravan comes and bows one of his 10 heads, I will make him the king. So Sugriv says, you have announced Vibhishan as the king of Lanka, and if Ravan comes, you want to give him the kingdom, but what kingdom would you give Ravan? So Ram says, I will make Ravan the king of Ayodhya. So then Sugriv said, oh my lord, you have made Bharat as the king of Ayodhya. Where would Bharat go? So Ram said, I will make him the king of Vaikuntha. So I will make Bharat king of Vaikuntha. So Sugriv said, but my lord, you are the lord of Vaikuntha. If you give, Vaikuntha to Bharat, where would you go? So Ram smiled and he said, Ram, I will simply live and rule the hearts of my loving devotees. That's where Ram is saying he'll live. He will live and rule the hearts of his loving devotees. So this is Sri Ram. Ram's culture is to nurture, to care and share, not to exploit. On the other hand,
So,
Ravan's, sorry.
sorry to interrupt, Mataji. So that means if we keep Lord in our heart
Mhm.
and love Him, our heart is actually Vaikuntha.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, Ram's culture is to care and share, and Ravana's culture is use and throw. So this is I read Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's book, and nice comparison he makes. Between Ravan's attitude. So we can understand that when the fight takes place between the Ravana's army and Ram's army, who had a home ground advantage? Like it was Ravan who had a home ground advantage. The fight was taking place in Lanka, but who had come far away from their native place, Kishkinda? The monkeys. They had come far away. Who had sophisticated weapons? Ravan. His army had sophisticated weapons. And what weapons did the monkeys have? They were using rocks, trees, mountain tops. They didn't have any sophisticated weapons. Who were more in quantity? Ravan and his soldiers were much more than the monkey army. Who had more wealth? Ravan. What wealth did Ram have? Pretty much nothing. Could Ram feed his monkey soldiers a nice chappan bhog? No, they were living very austerely. They were eating just fruits and roots and just maintaining themselves. But Ravan and his army, they were sumptuously being fed. by the royal cooks of Lanka. And how long the monkeys who were fighting for Lord Ram had known Lord Ram? Very few days. And how long the Rakshasa soldiers, they had known Ravan for their entire life. And what did Ram give his soldiers? He didn't give any remuneration, no salary. Practically, he was exiled to the forest, he had no wealth. But what was Ravana giving his soldiers? He was giving, nice sense enjoyment, liquor, comfortable house, wealth. But still we see that who won the war was Sri Ram. Why? Because Ram's culture is to care. So similarly, what material wealth did Srila Prabhupada have when he started ISKCON? Yet so many glorious young Americans who Srila Prabhupada, he used to call them as dancing white elephants or sometimes his monkey soldiers. What did Srila Prabhupada had to give them? Nothing materially. Still they gave up their everything, like their family, education, youth, degrees, to come join forces with Srila Prabhupada to serve in his mission, because it was his culture to nurture. They simply saw, Srila Prabhupada, he deeply cared for them. He had no ulterior motive. And, Srila Prabhupada just came to give them and not take anything from them. He had genuine love for them. So in Ramayana, we see that at the end of the day of the war, what Ravana would do is that he would take his, dead Rakshasas that were killed by Ram's army, and he would throw them out in the ocean, so that the next morning, the monkey army, they wouldn't see any dead soldiers. So they will be demoralized. So if they don't see any dead soldiers, they would not be inspired. So Ravana, he didn't care for his dead soldiers. His policy was use and throw. And what was Ram doing? At the end of the day, by his own loving hands, he would apply, medicines to the injured monkeys. He would pray for the soldiers who had died that day. He would ask for benedictions to revive them. He would himself do the last rites of those dead monkeys, soldiers. And where was Ravana living during the war? See, Ravana, he was in his palace, comfortably living in his palace, and he was sending other demons out to fight, like Kumbhakara and Indrajit. But where was Ram living? Ram was with the soldiers and sleeping and eating with them, and Ram was at the forefront of the war. So the monkeys, they saw how Ram, he's at the forefront of the war whole day. He's working hard, fighting hard, killing the Rakshasas, and at night he's spending time with them. He's crying and praying for the departed monkeys, and he's healing the injured monkeys. So that is the difference between Ram and Ravan: care and share, and use and throw. So this is the quality that attracted, just like everybody was attracted to Lord Ram, these monkey soldiers. The quality that attracted everyone towards Srila Prabhupada, his caring and sharing. So, I heard this past time, although, Prabhupada was very sick in his last days of his life, he would still care for the devotees around him and would suggest, health treatments for those devotees. So one time, one devotee writes in his memory that, sorry?
I have question like from hearing all this, I had a question in mind. Like Shri Ram, he told Mata Sita after they like when they were returning to Ayodhya, he said to Sita that you have stayed in someone else's place, so you are not supposed like you can go and stay on your own.
I
Like
was
he
I
told her
was
to go.
thinking we can take questions at the end, so the flow goes on. Okay, I think
Oh,
that,
sorry, Prabhuji.
yeah, we can just after she finishes.
Okay, sure, Prabhu. So yeah, this devotee was telling in his memory that Srila Prabhupada was very sick, and he was himself reduced to skin and bones, and this was only few days before Srila Prabhupada would depart from this world. And Srila Prabhupada, he saw that this devotee was limping, and Prabhupada asked him what happened, and this devotee said that I have a boil in my leg. And so Srila Prabhupada, he was suggesting this devotee, okay, you should make a haldi and neem paste and you should apply like this. And he asked his secretary to take care of the devotee. And next day also, when Srila Prabhupada saw the devotee, he asked how you were feeling. So this devotee was very amazed that how Srila Prabhupada, he himself is going through a health crisis, but he's worried about this devotee who has a boil on his leg. So this is, the quality of Srila Prabhupada and the quality of Sri Ram that attracted everyone towards them. The culture of share and care. And Ram, as we see, that he's very grateful to the monkeys who helped him. Now he couldn't give anything to the monkeys at that point, in Treta Yuga. But in the next incarnation, when he came as Krishna, and these monkeys, they came as the monkeys of Vrindavan. So what did Krishna give them? Krishna gave them butter with his own hands. He would give them butter. We see so many pastimes. And also, for the Lord is pleased even by little service. When the monkeys, they were making the bridge to Lanka, there's a pastime of Hanuman and squirrel. Hanuman was throwing huge mountain tops to build the bridge, and there was a tiny squirrel that was, pushing some dust particles to make that bridge. So Hanuman, he was about to brush the squirrel out of his way, but Lord Ram, he scolded him. Hanuman, you should give up your pride. The squirrel's devotional service is just as satisfying to me as yours. You are serving me according to your capacity, and he is serving me according to his capacity. So we can learn here that, whoever we are, whether we are as powerful as Hanuman or as weak as squirrel, we always have something to offer to the Lord. And if we serve the Lord according to our full capacity with our heart, it will be accepted by the Lord as first class devotion. So we should try to do our best, and we should never compare our abilities with others. And we should strive to do our best for the Lord, and progress in our service. And we should never obstruct or belittle others' devotional service. No matter how small or insignificant service that they are able to do, we should always encourage and appreciate others for whatever amount of service they can do for the Lord, knowing that the Lord is pleased even by a little service. And the last pastor I would say for today is that, who did the Lord choose to write Ramayana? Valmiki Muni. And we know the history of Valmiki. Valmiki was a highway dacoit, Daku Ratnakar, who was killing and robbing people ruthlessly. And when he came to rob Narad Muni, Narad Muni told him, why are you doing this? You're accumulating so many sins. You're suffering, you are inflicting suffering upon innocent people. So Daku Ratnakar, he said that, oh, I'm doing this for my family to maintain them. So Narad Muni asked him, okay, you checked with your family. Are they willing to share the sinful reactions of your activities? So Daku Ratnakar, he went and he asked his family, and his family refused to share any of his sins. And they say that, oh, you are, supposed to maintain the house. That's your duty as a father, as a husband. So Ratnakar, he came back to Narad Muni and he fell at his feet. And he understood his mistake, all the sins that he has been accumulating, for whom nobody is willing to share these sins. So he asked for a solution to rectify his sins, and Narad Muni, at that point, he didn't give him any philosophy. He just asked him to chant Ram, the name of Ram. But Valmiki, he had done so many sins, so many offenses, that he was not able to chant the name of Ram. So Jiva Goswami, he writes in one of his Sandarbhas that, if one commits 100 offenses, one loses satyam, truthfulness, and he becomes hypocritical. If one commits 1,000 offenses, one loses the capacity to perform austerity in bhakti, and he's not able to even follow the four regulative principles. And if one commits 10,000 offenses, one completely loses his ability to perform bhakti. He may become averse to bhakti, like he would not be able to chant the holy name with his tongue if he has committed 10,000 offenses. So Narad Muni, he thought that, oh, this Ratnakar, he's so sinful that he's not able to chant the name of Ram. But he didn't give up on him. Being a kind, being uh, Paradukha Dukhi, Narad Muni, he came up with this trick. He said, oh, this Ratnakar, you're too much attached to death and killing, so you should chant Mara instead, right? So Daku Ratnakar, he was chanting Mara 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 for 60,000 years. And while chanting, what was his qualification? His only qualification was he was willing to obey the instructions of his guru. He had no other qualifications. So, but because he was willing to follow the instructions of his guru sincerely, all of his shortcomings were put aside. In very short time, he was chanting the name of Ram purely. Because as we know, Maram, Ram, 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 Ram. Ultimately, he came to chanting Ram, Ram purely. And when Narad Muni was passing through that area again, he heard the name of, pure chanting of Ram, and he traced it back to an ant hill. And Narad Muni, he sprinkled some holy water, and this ant hill dissolved. And Narad Muni, he saw, Ratnakar was absorbed in meditation, chanting Ram, Ram purely. So Ratnakar, he fell at the feet of Narad Muni, and Narad Muni blessed him and gave him the name Valmiki. Valmiki means the sage who emerged from ant hill. So we see, because Valmiki, he chanted the holy name of Ram incessantly, he got the mercy of Narad Muni, and as a result, he was given the vision to see the transcendental pastimes of Sri Ram that he wrote down in his Valmiki Ramayana. So this is the power of the name of Ram, power name, the holy name. And we know that Krishna and Lord Ram name is non different from the Lord himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this mantra consists of three words: Hare, Krishna, and Ram. And Hare uh, applies means Sita Devi or Radharani, and Krishna and Ram. And one name of Krishna is equal to three names of Ram. So if we chant this Hare Krishna mantra and we follow the instructions of our Guru Srila Prabhupada, then, like Valmiki, all transcendental knowledge will be revealed to us within our heart. And we will be able to see the pastimes of Sita Ram, Radha Krishna going on in the spiritual world, and finally enter into those pastimes to serve Lord Ram and Mother Sita. And that would be the perfection of our lives. So, yeah, Prabhuji, I will stop here. That was my guess.
Thank you very much. It's very nice class. So yeah, now everybody can ask questions. Whatever. Haritra Prabhu, yeah, and Prachi, Kishori Prema. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, that was a very very beautifully arranged, composed class. Thank you very much for that, for setting the mood for you know accepting, for like celebrating Lord Ram's appearance.
Hare
I had
Krishna Prabhuji, we are hearing a lot of background noise.
a lot of background noise. Uh,
Now
Still,
it's okay. I think you're moving something, maybe that's why. Okay, now it's okay.
okay, yeah. So I was just wondering if you had a few words to share about. I mean, you described all the characters and the comparing and contrasting their natures, particularly Lord Ram and Lord Ravana. So I was wondering if you would have something to say about sort of the unsung hero of Ramayana, which is Bharat. Um, we hear like he had to go through a lot. Like uh, it seemed like he was the one who would be benefiting from this whole arrangement, but he was disgusted. And just wondering if you had a few words to say about Bharat. If not, it's okay.
You're on mute. If you're saying something, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu, I was on mute. Thank you, Prabhu. Aritra. Yeah, so I couldn't speak about all the characters because I was preparing for the Sunday feast and time is limited. So Bharat means one who holds the bhar. So everybody was doubting Bharat, starting from Dashrath, that it was his plan actually, to become the king, and through his mother he has brought about the desire to send Ram to the forest. That was the uh, most difficult thing because everybody was doubting Bharat's character. Dashrath, Kaushalya, Vashishta Muni, um, that he had instigated the whole conspiracy. But Bharat, he understood. When he came back, he was very angry at Manthara and Kaikeyi's mother. But Bharat, Shatrughan was about to hit Manthara and kill her, but Bharat stopped that, and he said that if you beat a woman, what would Lord Ram think? Although he was so angry at his mother and Manthara, but he controlled his anger, and he said, Lord Ram would not be pleased if we behave improperly with these women. So despite of all everyone doubting him, Bharat, he goes to the forest to meet Lord Ram, and he tells Lord Ram that you got this order from the father to stay in the forest. Let me stay in the forest for 14 years, and you can go back to Ayodhya. I can do this austerity for you, and so many things he said. But ultimately, Lord Ram, it was his plan to be in the forest because Ravana has to be killed. So many demons have to be killed, as we talked about. So ultimately, Bharat, he took Ram's sandals and brought it back to Ayodhya, and he considered Ram to still be ruling Ayodhya. And Bharat, he was not staying in the palace. He wanted to do the same austerity as Lord Ram was doing. So he made a hut outside, or he was meditating below the ground, I think. Um, uh, and eating only barley and cow urine. That's what Bhagavatam says. Throughout this time, 14 years, when Lord Ram was out there in the forest, Bharat was eating barley and cow urine because he wanted to also, practice austerity. He couldn't. He considered himself as the cause of Ram's suffering. So, and that's there. And he I think when people would come to him to some decisions have to be made for the kingdom, he would say that you go in front of Lord Ram's uh, sandals footwear and you ask him, like that. He would show everyone that it was Lord Ram who was ruling Ayodhya, not him. So he didn't want anything. He's like selflessly, um, he's detached from the kingdom. So that is the quality of Bharat. He's detached from the kingdom. Um, and then Shatrughan, who was serving Bharat. They say that the hero of Ramayana is not uh, Ram, not Hanuman, not Bharat. It's actually Shatrughan, because Shatrughan was serving the servant of Lord Ram. When Bharat was doing all these austerities, was not taking care of himself, Shatrughan was taking care of Bharat. So one who takes care of the servant of the Lord is the topmost devotee. And that's what I heard from Amarendra Prabhu, selflessly serving Bharat. And if anybody else has something to add
Can
about
I
it,
add something? Can I
yeah,
add something?
sure.
So I had the great fortune of visiting this place called Nandagram, which is where Bharat stayed. So he did not stay in Ayodhya.
Mhm.
He stayed in Nandagram, and it's a little bit away from Ayodhya. I think like 20 kilometers or something like that. And basically, he did not even want to stay on ground at ground level
Mhm.
because, and he like, so there's a place like you have to go under the ground, like it's like a basement kind of thing, and that's where he lived because he felt he was not qualified to even stay at the same level that Lord Ram was staying.
Mhm.
So he dug this hole and he would stay there. And he would go to take a bath there in the Kund nearby. And that Kund, he would go at a time when it was before Brahma Muhurta, right? So, like 2 a.m. in the morning, he would wake up and he would go. And the reason he would do that is he felt he was such a wretched person that he had caused distress to the Lord. He was the cause of distress to the Lord, that he didn't want anybody to look at his face, because if he went at a time when everybody else was taking bath, then he would be seen by the others. And we have this thing in India, right? Like if you see some inauspicious person early in the morning, it's not considered good. So he himself led that life of like self exile kind of thing. And the most beautiful thing and the lesson that we can learn from Bharat is that when he went back he went into the forest, right? And when he went, he was in such a dilemma because he did not want to accept the throne and he just didn't know what to do. So he went with the intention that he would coronate Ram and bring him back. But and then he started talking to Ram, and it said that on the way when he was going, he went to Chitrakoot, and on the way the stones. Like he would call out the name of the Lord in such a way that the stones would melt. And even today, you can go to Chitrakoot and see that the melted rocks and boulders. And so basically, that's how we should chant, right? When we cry out to the Lord, it should be heart melting, or even, if they say like even just one time crying out to the Lord that way will will liberate us from all this material desires and everything. So when he went there, he was in such a dilemma, and he didn't know what to do. And he was talking to Janak, and he was asking him to convince Ram. He was trying to he was himself trying to convince Ram. And then at one point, he says to Ram, "Now I will do whatever you say." And Ram says, "I accept the crown, but on my behalf, go and rule um, Ayodhya." So Mataji had kind of, she had, I really like the way you concluded your presentation with Valmiki, and the message that, if you have implicit faith, so if you have unflinching faith in the words of the Guru, then automatically all knowledge comes to you, right? That's the one qualification of Valmiki. And yasya deve parabhaktir. I never thought about it that way, but thank you so much for bringing that in perspective, because that is something that we have to remind ourselves every single moment. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyarte katita hyartha prakashante mahatmana. So if we have unflinching faith in the words of the Guru, which is the same as the words of the Lord, then all the knowledge from the scriptures will be automatically revealed to us. And this great example of Valmiki is before us. And same thing in case of Bharat. So when he completely surrendered to Ram and said, I will do whatever you say. And when he did that, and when he heard the words of Ram and he accepted it, all the dilemma, all his sorrow, everything just vanished. And he knew, I'm simply following the orders of my master. And it that was just that's just for me, that's what stands out from Bharat's character and the lesson that we can derive from his life.
Thank you, Mataji.
Also, I was going to say one thing that uh, is it like Bharat? I don't know. I'm not very familiar with Ramayana, but he was not allowed to do Agni Sanskar of Dashrath Maharaj because Dashrath also died thinking that Bharat was responsible for the conspiracy, and Vashishta said, "No, you cannot light the fire." Is it true?
Yeah, but yeah, the Ramayana says that he did the Antim Sanskar.
Oh, Ramayana says that.
Yeah, Dashrath
Yeah.
said that he let Bharat not do that, but
But
but he still did it.
Yeah, yeah. And in Tulsi Ramayana also Bharat only did the Sanskar.
I was also thinking about that how Ram wished well for Kaikai, even though she wanted him to go to the forest, and he was saying that if you do, I directly told me. So this is the quality of the Lord, and also the devotees, those who like we see Haridas Thakur, he was beaten, and Prabhupada quotes Jesus Christ. Like those who harm, but the devotee wishes well for them. It's a very amazing quality to. I mean, those who wish well for you, you wish well for them. But those who wish like bad, or even they want to harm you, then the devotee wishes well. So
And same
that's
with Sita forgiving the Demonesses, right?
hmm.
Hanuman wanted to kill them, but Sita said, no, it's not their fault.
Hmm. So that's what I was thinking. It's also like Shukracharya. He was also thinking, like Mantra was thinking, what about me?
Mhm.
So Shukracharya was also thinking, if Bali Maharaj surrenders to Vaman Dev, then what about me? I will not get anything. So when there's a vested interest, then that's so. Also, Hanumanji had the service to find Sita. I don't know if this is Ramayana. I just have heard some few things you can tell. He was looking in all the ladies' chamber. He was a brahmachari, but as a service, he had to go and look into every. Ravana had so many wives, as you were saying, and he had to find Sita. So he was looking into everybody, and as a brahmachari, he was thinking, like, this is not right, like the right thing to do, because he has to. But he was so much focused on his service, like you were saying, that vyavasaitmika buddhi, that nothing can distract. So although he was doing a service that was not contrary to his ashram, but because he was so much focused on serving Lord Ram, so he was not affected. So he was Vyavasaitmika Buddhi, nothing could distract. What did you say? In what context you said nothing could distract?
Yeah, because Ravana was enticing Mother Sita with all these things. I'll give you this, and you'll become the, the queen of Lanka, and your beauty, you're very beautiful, and your youth is fading away. So he was enticing her with so many things. But Sita was saying, no, my heart, my mind is on Lord Ram. Nothing can distract me.
So Maya also gives us many reasons. I was thinking to not surrender to Krishna, and so many things are there. Srila Prabhupada also, he had so many reasons to go back. You know, he had a heart attack, somebody stole his typewriter, somebody came after him. And of course, he was going back to the docks and trying to see which ship is going back to India. But he was kind of, determined to follow the order of his, so he stayed. Of course, he went in after some time, but at that time, he had some already established ISKCON, and then he came back. So there may be so many reasons for to deviate from our sadhana and our service, but we learned that we should not. Like, I remember Raghunath Das Goswami, how his regulative principles that he used to follow were like what they say is
Lines on the stone.
lines on the stone. So, okay, I just had some few points.
Hare Krishna
I,
Mataji, was a beautiful, beautiful presentation. But I heard that Dasrath had a shrap that when he dies, no son can be near him because he killed the Shravana.
Mm-hmm. Shravan Kumar. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is it true? Then how can Bharat be there?
No, no. So Dashrath died, and then Bharat came because Bharat was in Kaikai Desh. He was in his mother's place, like mother's brother's palace. So he was away when Dashrath died. So that was the curse. When you die, you will have, or you'll be separated from your sons, because how Shravan Kumar was, he died, right, leaving his blind parents. So yeah, when Dashrath died, no son was nearby.
No son. Okay, that's what I just
Bharat
want.
and Shatrughan were away, and Ram and Lakshman had left.
Okay.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes.
So you started in the beginning with your of your presentation. You spoke about like the different flavors in Ramayana and how so I was thinking like I think you also mentioned something like we have all these desires, right? We have all these things going on within us. So we have lust and greed and anger and everything, and how everything is also part of the Leela of the Lord. So, and we were reading yesterday about Kabandha. We were reading about Kubja. And so Kubja represents lust. Shurpanaka represented lust too. we discussed how Shurpanaka, Kubja was Shurpanaka in her previous pastime, and Kabandha also. But we see all these, they come, they have a role. They are liberated by the Lord, and they assume they're cursed. So, for example, Kabandha, he was a cursed Gandharva or something, and he assumed this form of this Rakshasa, and he was waiting for Ram to come. So, but what we see, even though they're waiting for the Lord to come, they are indulging in all these sinful activities. They're like killing people, and they're literally fulfilling that Rakshasa role. Uh, so how does that work? Because they are they accruing karma in the process, or is it that are they just playing the role? It's always been a question on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, Ravana himself, he's like Jay and Vijay coming from the spiritual world, the three lives that they had to take, right? Hinyakshi,
Mm,
Hiranyakashipu.
mm, mm,
Yeah, when they get into the role of the demon, then they act according to that role.
mm,
And they forget, they forget their constitutional position.
mm, mm,
And the thing is that they had made a mistake, like Kabanda had made a mistake of laughing at Ashtavakra, and
mm,
he got that curse. And Jay and Vijay also made a mistake of, four Kumaras, they offended four Kumaras. So
mm,
they had to suffer in the life of the demon, they had to suffer.
mm.
So I feel, yeah, but ultimately, everybody would get liberated, even if you not everybody would get liberated at the end of life. But we have to go through these cycles of
Yeah.
suffering and different births where we forget who we are.
Mm, mm. And I was just, it's very striking, right? Like how he's waiting for Krishna to, I mean, for Ram and Lakshman to come.
Yeah.
And but so are they suffering in separation, or are they suffering just because of the curse? That's a question, right? Like,
um so the same thing is that when somebody gets a body, right, of a demon, then they have no control, like they have those propensities. Although we
potential.
see Vritrasura, he has a body of a demon, but
Mm,
his heart is a devotee.
mm,
So yeah, I don't know, like as a demon or whoever the Kabanda, he was eating animals and everybody,
mm, mm,
humans, because that's the body that he has. He has to act according to that inclination. But
mm.
yeah, he was waiting for Ram to get him out of this body. So yeah, once we have a body, if we get body of a pig, we would like to eat stew. That's like
Yes, yes,
Avranatmika Shakti,
yes.
right?
Yes. So it even though this is stated that it doesn't matter in what mood you think of the Lord, you will attain the Lord. I think it's not what we can follow, right? It's better to have only one mode of service and surrender and devotion, because the others are not very pleasant, right?
Yeah, so yeah, right. I mean, you can, like, there's a verse, right? Lust, if you have lust, anger, greed, or anything towards the Lord, that still is liberating because it's towards the Lord. It may not be classified as pure bhakti, right?
Mm,
Krishna Anushilanam, it's not favorable to Krishna, but because
no,
it's related to Krishna, it still is purifying.
yeah,
But
but
yeah, pure
it's
devotional services, you do things that are favorable for bhakti, right?
yes.
Even Ravana was, you know, not this Kansa. Kansa was always thinking of Krishna in fear.
Mm,
He was thinking of Krishna, he would be liberated, but that's not pure devotional service because he wanted to kill Krishna. That's why he was thinking about Krishna.
thank you so much.
Prachi wanted to ask something.
Uh, yeah, so Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Hare Krishna everyone. I wanted to ask that why did Sri Ram suddenly think it was wrong because Sita Mata had to stay in Ravan's what to say in Ravan's campus, and she was shunned away by Sri Ram after returning to Ayodhya. So, what was the like? Why was it that Ram thought that it was appropriate for Sita to leave him?
You're talking about like he asked Sita to go through like actually when Sita came, she was rescued by Hanuman and she came in front of Lord Ram. Lord Ram said that I have done my part. uh, I was your husband, it was my duty to save you. Now that you are rescued, you can go wherever you want to go, right? You have been in the other person's house, so you can go wherever you want to go. I cannot accept you. And then Mother
Yeah.
Sita was crying and she said, Lakshman, you build a fire, and I will enter into it. And Mother Sita, she entered into it. But this whole is a pastime because now, as we were discussing yesterday, Ravan
Mm-hmm.
captured Maya Sita. It was not real Sita, it was Maya Sita that was captured by Ravan. So then, when Maya Sita entered the fire god brought real Sita out. So this incident is mentioned in Kurma Puran. It's not mentioned in Ramayana. But people who
Still,
look at it.
then there is one more question that comes in this. Like, if Maya Sita was burnt, and if real Sita was saved by Agni Dev, then did Sita remained at Agni Dev's place for all these years? And is that why that Lord Ram thought that maybe when we think from Lord Ram's point of view, then would he feel used by the people around him, because like his like Sita also did not convey a single message to him in such a long time that she is safe and alive, and at another safe house, so as to speak. And also uh, like I think that Ram might have felt used by all the other gods and goddesses also, so that Ravan could be killed, and the planets and the gods and goddesses that were captured by Ravan, they got freedom. So do you think that is that like that?
Well, Lord cannot be used. He knows everything. He's all knowing, right? It's all his Leela only. No, demigods are not on above Lord, right? Lord is above everyone. So it's his Leela, and the separation between Sita and Ram, as we were saying, one perspective of that is Lord wanted to show or experience also Vipralamba Bhav. Like as we see, Lord Ram is crying for Sita and not seeing Sita, he's seeing Sita everywhere. And Krishna also separates himself from the gopis. He goes to Mathura. He wants to increase the love of his devotees and he also wants to experience Vipralamba Bhav. So separation between mother and Sita. And then Lord Ram wants to engage his devotees in his service. So he engages his monkey army and Sugriva, Hanuman, and all these to make the bridge and try to rescue Sita. So he's engaging all of his devotees and giving them the credit. And he's building this whole Ramayana, as we said. He's building this Leela so that we get to hear pastimes of Lord Ram. If Sita was not separated from Lord Ram, and as we said, Ram could have killed Ravan by just giving a heart attack, then there's nothing to talk about. So Ram is building this Leela, with all the things that we were discussing: action, drama, romance, adventure, so that we become interested in hearing about Krishna's or Lord Ram's amazing pastimes. And that's how we can think of Ram, and we also develop that bhav, emotions, how Sita is crying for Ram or Ram is crying for Sita. If we build those emotions for Lord, that's, as I said, was the success of bhakti. So this is all, Leela that Lord Ram is creating for us to become absorbed in his pastimes.
And Mahabharata is the reservoir of all, all this, right? Like it has so much more than Ramayana, right? Like it has everything that we see in this world today happening is in Mahabharata.
Mhm.
Um, all the bad, good, everything, the in between.
So, Mataji, I have question. Um, Ram, like, he presents like, oh, okay, you shouldn't listen to the Kai and all that. So how come he listened to the one Dhobi and get Sita Mata to, she went, Sita Mata had to leave the house, right? Because of,
Correct.
yeah. So what is that Leela is about?
Yeah. So, that is, there is, I mean, there's a whole big discussion on it, and I may not be qualified to say that, but there is something called an ethical dilemma, and there's something called a moral dilemma. Moral dilemma means something is right and the other thing is wrong, then you will automatically, you obviously will choose the right thing. But ethical dilemma is if you have two options and both are right. So now in this case, the dhobi, the thing is that Lord is, trying to show to the world ultimately is that he's sacrificing himself and his family life for his kingdom. So he's showing this, this quality of sacrifice, that I'm not attached to anyone. I'm not attached to my wife. I'm not attached to this kingdom. That's how everybody should be. Um, so he's, sacrificing his relationship with Sita, but Sita never, when Sita was notified, like, Ram asked Lakshman to take Sita to Valmiki ashram, and Sita didn't know where Lakshman was taking her. So then she asked, and Lakshman said, Ram has ordered that you stay with Valmiki Muni for the rest of your life. And Sita was very sad and distressed at that point, but she accepted. She accepted that, okay, whatever Lord is saying is correct. I would not question him. I would not, um, ask why is he doing it. So we can see the unconditional surrender of Mother Sita there. And she's also teaching us, whatever the Lord gives us in our life, um, we should accept it. This is, Lord has sanctioned this to happen in my life. I will accept it. Ashlishya panushtumam, unconditional surrender to Krishna. Whether Krishna embraces me or he rejects me, he tramples me under his feet, he'll still be my supreme Lord unconditionally. That we see in the case of Mother Sita. She raised her kids, um, Love and Kush, with telling them about so many, nice qualities about Lord Ram. Not like, saying, "Oh, your father is so bad that he, rejected me." And while she was pregnant, this was a
Mm,
time when she was pregnant that
yeah.
she was, sent to Valmiki Rishi. But
Mm,
when she raised her kids, she told everything about, the glorious qualities of Lord Ram, that, they would recite Ramayana. Love and Kush would recite Ramayana. So that's one thing that we see in this. And then on the other side, when when Lord Ram banished Sita, he did not marry another woman. Right, whenever there were sacrifices happening, he would keep a golden Sita right next to him, and he would sleep on the floor, just like how Mother Sita would be sleeping in austere condition in the ashram. He would be in those austere conditions in the kingdom itself. And yeah.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so we see, how Lord Ram is showing that he has no attachment, and for the kingdom he's willing to sacrifice his own enjoyment. That's the quality of a king. So this, Maryada Purushottam, he's showing us how to be a king, how to be a leader. You show by example.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, like, if you, in very simple, what came to my mind, in today's, in modern situations, we often see, right, at least in India we see that, we used to see that, I don't know if it happens anymore. So if like a train accident happens, like a train derailed, and hundreds of people lost their lives, then the railway minister would resign. So, would you say that he's responsible for that accident? No, but he feels that under his administration, so many people suffered, and so he takes responsibility, and he feels he's not qualified because he couldn't protect those people. So I was just thinking, like Ram, because even if one of his subjects was unhappy, then he would do everything to please that one person.
Mhm. Nice.
Thank you. Okay, so what's it? 38. We can read one verse from Bhagavatam if it's okay.
Yes, bro.
Prabhuji, should we read from the ninth canto, Ram Leela?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can read that.
Maybe that verse that Mataji, Sakrateva Prapanoyam.
That is in
that's in
Krishna.
Oh,
Chaturanga.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
That's in Ramayana, but it's quoted in.
Yeah, it's not in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, okay. Sorry.
Let's see if Prabhupada has a commentary on that verse. I
Or
don't
maybe
think.
we can because maybe Chaitanya Charitamritham, right? If it's there and if Sri Prabhupada has commented on.
I can see if it
Yeah.
is.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
There is no purport.
Hmm.
But yeah, Canto 9 has. I mean, we can read some section from Canto 9.
Okay, you can tell me
Chapter.
which particular verse you want to read. Pastimes of this. Let me share my screen. Where is that where Ram is crying and read that section?
Man is crying.
We read that yesterday from Ramayana.
Yeah,
We can read from Bhagavatam also.
yeah. 11th, that's the 11, 9, 10, 11. Where Prabhupada is saying that, when Ram is crying or searching for Mother Sita, he's showing by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. I mean, Lord is not attached to anyone, but there's also a lesson.
Okay, I can read this verse. It's okay.
Yes.
9, 10, 11. When Ramchandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramchandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshmana, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. That's in the verse also. Stri Sanginam Gatim Mithi Prathayam Chachara. In this verse, the words Stri Sanginam Gatimiti indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord Himself. According to moral instructions, Grihe Narim Vivarjayet. When one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, uh, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramchandra, when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramchandra is spiritual. Because this is not like ordinary attachment, because Lord Ram is God and Sita is Ladini Shakti. So, but for the common man, that's the instruction. For he does not belong to this material world. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Narayana is beyond the material creation. Because he is the creator of the material world, he is not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramchandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Ladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to Shringaras, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Satvika, Sanchari, Vilap, Murcha, and Unmad. Thus, when Lord Ramchandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. Sorry. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Satchidananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. So there it causes bliss. The separation causes bliss. And because here it's a perverted reflection, it causes distress. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramchandra therefore manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. This is further explained in Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mam muda manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto bhutam maheshwaram. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. And looks like, right, he's lamenting for his wife.